Welcome to the My City, My Game pod show featuring Raider J77, your place for all things Raiders and all things Trailblazers. Brought to you by the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Now let's go.
What is good? What is good? It's your boy Raider J77 here on the My City, My Game pod show. Doing another Raiders video here for you, man. Going to be talking about some stuff. We're going to be talking about injuries, news, notes, and what's next for the Raiders if they do what they did last season and blow a winning record and end the season without a winning record and miss the postseason again. What's going to happen? That's what we're going to talk about here today. So, first and foremost, we do have some news and some notes. I want to address a couple of key pickups, Takk McKinley and Vic Beasley. Jon Gruden was asked about Vic Beasley, and then he goes a little bit further and says some stuff about Takk McKinley as well. I've got the audio here for you to play. So listen to what Jon Gruden has to say about Vic Beasley when asked what his impression was.
He's a nice guy. You know, we haven't really met each other, Vic, honestly. He's only been here for a few days, and we had a quick flight to Atlanta last week. So his first impression is he looks the part. We know about his resume. We know about Vic and Takk McKinley because A.J. Neibel was in Atlanta with both of them. So we think there's upside there, but we gotta get the best out of Beasley, and he's got to get in great shape. He's got to get himself 100% healthy and invested, and then we'll see where it goes.
John, Monday you were speaking about the respect that.
So that is what Jon Gruden had to say about Vic Beasley and Takk McKinley. So it doesn't look like we may see Vic Beasley out on the field this week against the Jets, but obviously, you know, that remains to be seen. Now, when it comes to injuries, real quick, going to pull up the injuries. So the injury report that was released today, I know that Jon Gruden in that same interview was asked about Maliek Collins, and he did say that Maliek Collins is going to be on a short-term injury reserve due to he's got like a shoulder situation. Mo Hurst was not in practice today as well with an ankle calf injury. Rodney Hudson was non-injury related. He was out. Denzel Good out with an ankle injury. Arnett out with a concussion. Aguilar was out with an ankle. Abram out with a knee. Gabe Jackson out, but not injury related. Josh Jacobs out, ankle. Kwiatkowski out, ankle. And Sam Young was limited with a knee. Ingle was limited, still dealing with that rib injury. Eric Harris limited with a calf. Booker was a full participant. He is on the injured reserve, or it's going to be the injury list, though. He was a full participant, but he's got a back issue. Colton Miller, ankle. Carl Nassib, knee. Jalen Richard, chest. So that is the injury report as of today, Wednesday. Now, in transactions, activated was Trent Brown, LaMarcus Joyner, and running back Theo Riddick from the reserve COVID-19 list. So it looks like those guys are going to be able to return to practice here very, very soon, if not already today. So those are like the basic, just a quick rundown of the injuries, quick rundown of the transactions going on with the Raiders right now. So that'll bring you up to speed with what is going on specifically right now with the Raiders concerning injuries and news and notes and all that kind of stuff. Haven't seen anything else crazy come across the wire. But of course, as we do, I will keep you guys posted. So now I want to talk about something else. I want to shift gears. I want to talk about what's next for the Raiders. If for some reason they do what they did last season and they blow their winning record, because we all know at this time they were 6-4. They went in to play the Jets and got demolished by the Jets and just lost and missed the playoffs because of it. So what? What next? Where are we at? This is Derek Carr's 7th year in the NFL. This is Jon Gruden's 3rd year with the Raiders. Jon Gruden is on a 10-year, $100 million deal. Derek Carr is getting close to the end of his contract. What do we do if for some reason we miss the playoffs? Who is the blame? Do we put the blame on the coaches? Do we put the blame on Derek Carr and the offense? Do we put the blame on Paul Guenther and the defense? Is it Jon Gruden? Is it Mike Mayock? One of the biggest topics to talk about is Derek Carr. Obviously, the quarterback is a key, vital position, a vital role on an NFL team. That is your first mate of the team. That is the guy that steers the ship on the field and does exactly what the captain says to do. If Jon Gruden is the captain of the Black Pearl and he's leading the Raiders, Derek Carr is his first mate. You have got to be able to execute as a quarterback. So what do we do? What is the future for Derek Carr if for some reason we don't have a winning season and we miss the playoffs again? Because I'll be honest with you guys, Jon Gruden is on a 10-year, $100 million contract. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Mike Mayock is a good GM. Mike Mayock is a good does well with the draft. He's drafted some really good players. Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Abram. Just to name a couple. They brought Waller over. Look at how Waller's playing. They brought Nelson Aguilar over. Look how he's playing again. Our draft class last season was the best in the NFL. So what do we do with Derek Carr if the worst happens? So you have two scenarios. And I'm going to lay both these scenarios out. And then you guys can leave, whatever comments you want in the comments and let me know what you think. One, you keep Derek Carr for another year and you draft a quarterback in the 2021 NFL draft. That's scenario one. You sit that new quarterback, you sit that rookie under Derek Carr for a year. You let him study because it's going to take a lot to learn Jon Gruden's offense. You let him study under Derek Carr, and then you break him out in the 2022 or 2021, 2022 season. Or excuse me, the 2022 season. That is option number one. And Derek Carr is a good guy, right? So he's not going to be one of those guys that's going to throw a fit and refuse to coach the guy up. He'll definitely step in and assist with, grooming this new quarterback that's going to be taking his place. Derek Carr has, from what I understand, has plenty of plans outside of the NFL for his future. The NFL is not the end-all, be-all for him. So if that's scenario one. Scenario number two is you trade Derek Carr, obviously for either draft pick, players, or a combination of both. But you're definitely going to want to bring in, unless you are being offered the number one overall pick, number two, number three overall pick for Derek Carr, along with some other players or whatever the case may be, unless you're getting a top 3 or 4 pick in the draft. As far as QBs are concerned, and or maybe you get a pick where you can get a top 3 or top 4 QB in the draft. You're going to want to package a deal with some players and some picks and bring somebody in, like another quarterback. Trade for like a quarterback plus maybe some draft picks, or a quarterback and some other players, whatever the case may be. But you have two options. Like I said, one, you can bring in another quarterback in the trade, or you can bring in some high draft capital in the trade to replace him in the draft. Because you got to replace Derek Carr. Because I don't think Mariota's coming back. Obviously, Nate Peterman is not the future. So those are your two options. Draft a quarterback next season, draft. Keep Derek Carr for a year, groom the new quarterback. Trade Derek Carr, get some draft capital and possibly another quarterback to replace him, or draft capital to replace him in the draft and some other players, something along those lines. So option number one. If you choose option number one, these are the guys that are the prospects for the 2021 NFL draft, quarterbacks. You have, obviously, Trevor Lawrence, who's the Clemson quarterback. He probably is going to be drafted by the Jets. That's most likely what's going to happen if he ends up declaring for the draft. They're probably going to have the number one overall pick. They're probably definitely sounds like they're going to want to go for Trevor Lawrence. You also have Justin Fields, Ohio State. Trey Lance, North Dakota State. And then from there, so that's the first prospect, number one prospect, number 5 overall prospect, number 6 overall prospect, and then you basically hit a cliff after those 3 guys. And you get to Brock Purdy from Iowa State, who's the 50th overall draft prospect. Kyle Trask, who's the 59th. And then Sam Ehlinger from Texas, who's the 72nd. So it's a huge drop after those first 3 quarterbacks. 1st, 5th, 6th, 50th, right? So what do? You try to package some drafts in a trade somehow, to try to, do you trade up? I mean, because essentially you're going to want that 1st, 5th, or 6th, right? Last thing you want to do is draft a guy, 50th, that's 50th, the 50th prospect on the list as far as, prospects go. Because that's a 2-season, maybe more of a 2-season project. You want to get this guy 1 season, boom, get him out there. And if all else fails, hey, in case of emergency, break glass halfway through that season. If Carr is, still not doing what you need to do and this guy's ready to go, you throw him out there. Because the sooner you get to the playoffs, the better. So Trevor Lance, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. Those are the 3 guys you're going for. You got the Jets need a QB. Carolina needs a QB. I'm not 100% sure about Indianapolis if they're going to want to, try to snag a QB, if they're going to stick with Phillip Rivers. Are the Dolphins sold on Tua? I don't really know. So there's a lot of things, a lot of different aspects to this whole thing. But that's basically your option. Is you try to get, a higher pick in the draft, because we're obviously not going to have, unless we don't win any more games the rest of the season, we're not going to have a very high draft pick. So you're going to have to trade up, and who do you have on the team that you can, package in a trade, along with picks to try to trade up into that spot to get one of these top 3 guys. Option number 2, you trade Derek Carr, right, for another QB, somebody to replace him, and possibly some draft picks. And then maybe you draft a quarterback in the draft, somebody that you can groom over the next couple of seasons. But this guy that you trade for, this QB you trade for, he's trying to take you. He's got to take you to the promised land right away. This is one of those like, hey, we need a guy right now who can get the job done, take us to the show, and win us a Super Bowl. Right? This isn't, we're gonna trade for a quarterback and then we're gonna draft a guy and we're gonna groom him for a couple of years. I mean, what's the point of that? If you're trading for the guy. Here are your options for free agents 2021 quarterback position. Dak Prescott, not a bad quarterback at all. Good quarterback. Maybe possibly you do a deal with you wait for him to become, if Dallas doesn't give him his contract, you wait for him to become a free agent and you bring Dak Prescott in. And then you don't have to trade. You don't have to trade Derek Carr to somebody else. Maybe you trade some draft picks for Derek Carr. Maybe you trade for a high draft pick and you draft a quarterback. Then you sign Dak Prescott. Now you got a fresh new quarterback to groom. Dak Prescott doesn't work out. In case of emergency break glass, you got the new guy. Or use those picks and bolster the defense. That's an option. So Dak Prescott is one. Phillip Rivers is going to be available. Wouldn't touch him. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor. Not a lot of free agents. Not a lot of free agent. Other than Dak Prescott, I wouldn't touch any of those guys. Not over Derek Carr. I don't care. Wouldn't touch one of those guys over Derek Carr. Well, I would consider, if I was a GM, I would consider Dak Prescott. But I'm an armchair GM, so, I can say that. There's not a lot of free agents left. Now, as far as trading for another QB, what are your options to trade for another QB? Who's going to let who would want to part with their quarterback? Can you think of one that would want to part, that would want to replace their current quarterback with Derek Carr? Because they're looking for an upgrade as well. So really, a trade, unless you trade Derek Carr for other stuff and not another quarterback, what do? What if you try to sign Dak Prescott and he says no? He doesn't want to play for the Raiders. He wants to play for somebody else. So what is what would be the best option? So in the comments, go down in the comments, put it in there. What do you guys think? What is the next best option? What do we do with Derek Carr if for some reason we, again, after 7 seasons, don't have a winning record, don't make the playoffs? Do we move on from him? Do we bring in somebody else? Do we stick with Carr? Is Carr the problem? Is it the defense? Does the defense need to play better? Because the game on Sunday, that wasn't all defense. The defense played pretty well. They didn't play great, but they played pretty well. And they set us up for some turnovers, and we weren't able to capitalize. Obviously, Josh Jacobs isn't going anywhere. He's not the problem. So what do? Jon Gruden's not going anywhere. So what do? The only thing you can really do is upgrade the quarterback position. Wide receiver position, I mean, we're supposed to be, solid in the wide receiver position. So what do the Raiders do? Do they upgrade the wide receiver position? Does Derek Carr need more talented wide receivers? You try to trade for Julio Jones in the offseason? A guy like that? You try to trade for DK Metcalf? Seattle's not going to part with DK Metcalf. I highly doubt the Cardinals are going to part with Dwayne Haskins. So who? What do? You try to make a trade and bring in a true number one wide receiver. What is Ruggs going to look like next season? These are all questions of what changes are going to be made in the offseason if we have another failing season as the the Las Vegas Raiders? It's a tough question, guys. As fans, we're so tired of losing. We're so tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And as soon as we feel like something's happening and something's getting better, we find ourselves here in this position. Is Derek Carr one of those guys that just is not invested into football like somebody else would be? Now congratulations to him, brand new baby daughter. I got a 6-month-old daughter. I'm totally in his shoes. I've been in his shoes before. I've got a brand new daughter. That's awesome. But it's a distraction. Is Derek Carr one of those guys that can deal with those distractions? Last season, it seemed it was his church work and his preaching and stuff like that he was doing. Seemed to be like that was what he was going to do in the long run. Sort of kind of seemed like it may have been a distraction. Could be coincidental, maybe not. Do we need to fire Jon Gruden? Do we need to fire Paul Guenther? Who's the prospect? Who do we bring in to replace Paul Guenther? It's not as easy as just, 1, 2, 3. Anyhow, we're going to talk some more about this. I'm going to be posting some more videos, breaking some more things down, putting out some articles on what we're going to do as a team, especially if we start losing. We lose to the Jets. I really don't know. If this team, hopefully they'll turn it around. I'm not saying they won't. I'm totally confident in this team. They have the ability. When they play our brand of football, when they play up to their potential, this is one of the best offenses in the NFL. The defense, good enough to get us to a championship. But we have to see. So what's going to happen? Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think the next best steps are? Maybe we need to do a live show. Let me know. Do we need to do a live show and talk about it? I can open up the phone lines. I can open up the chat. We can discuss it. You guys can call in and give your thoughts, and we can talk about it. Let me know if that's what you want to do in the comments below. But like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Going to do a 500 subscriber giveaway. It's going to be really awesome. So make sure you guys subscribe and hit that bell, because I'm going to put out a video letting you know exactly what you need to do to be able to be a part of that. Part of it is you need to be subscribed. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Look out for some more Raiders content. You can see right now I'm donning the My City, My Game snapback, as well as the My City, My Game t-shirt. Make sure you guys go get you some merchandise, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what we got on the website.
Welcome to the My City, My Game pod show featuring Raider J77, your place for all things Raiders and all things Trailblazers. Brought to you by the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Now let's go.